All right. I would like to thank everybody for coming tonight. We are going to talk about one of the tools that we use in our mindset training in basics. And we affectionately refer to him as the stick figure or the stick person or the stick man. A little bit about my background with personal development. I started actively working on my own personal development about 2018. Before that, I thought it was hokey, didn't think I needed it. And then a couple of things happened just as I was getting into personal development. And I'm like, wow, just that little bit of work. And I saw results. So I didn't know much about mindset or self-image though, until almost a year later in April of 2019, the first time I went to Iconic, and they started talking about a self-image statement and mindset. And I'm like, okay, that seemed a little hokey at first, but now, yeah, I'm all the way in. So, and just a series of little changes has really, really compounded into huge results for me. I found out when I really dug into me that I already had a pretty decent foundation. And then, like I said, I just needed to fine tune some things and just kind of switch the way that I was looking at things or the way that I was perceiving things. We usually find what we are seeking. And I have learned that if you focus on the positive and maybe the things that you can improve upon rather than obsessing about the negative things, the same set of circumstances has a completely different outcome. So what is self-image? Self-image, we actually have two images. We have the image that we see when we look at ourselves in the mirror. We have the physical image. And then we also have the mental image, the way that we perceive ourselves. It's like a mental picture of how we feel about ourselves. Our self-image determines how successful we are in life. And if you improve your overall self-image, you improve every facet of your life. How do we do that? We do that through awareness. We can't change unless we become aware that we need to change. And awareness has several different levels. If you think about when a baby is born, they have none of these skills yet, and they usually react. It's either fight or flight. So if something that they perceive to be negative happens, what happens? They throw a tantrum, right? Because they don't know how to think through this and how to react any other way. Then when our kids get a little bit older and we send them off to school, we're like, go get along with the other kids on the playground. And that kind of helps to develop their paradigm. It's like, what are my friends doing? What are the people around me doing? So they kind of follow the masses. Fitting in was very big when I was growing up until I knew better. And then one day you think, you know what? I don't need to follow what everybody else is doing. I have the desire for something greater. So we think, you know what? What if I go against the grain? What if I try something new? And then you discover that you have a unique set of skills, but are you going to act on those skills? That's when the discipline comes in. So you think, okay, I know that I'm different. I know that what the masses are doing is not what I want to do because I want more than what the masses have. And you think, okay, this is my goal. And it's not a hope. It's not a wish. It's not a dream. It is actually, it's a command you give yourself, and you need to be disciplined in order to actually get to that goal. Because you know what? If you think, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, you don't sit on the couch and eat a cheesecake, right? You have to get up and consistently work out every day. You have to do strength training. You have to do cardio. You have to do the things. You have to put healthy, clean food in your body if you want those results. Well, the mind is exactly the same. If you want to improve your mindset, you actually have to talk to yourself in a positive manner. Conscious language matters. So you can't just sit around and think, oh, why me? Life is terrible. You're going to find more of that when that is what you're looking for. If something doesn't go my way now, I think, okay, what can I get out of this? What can I learn from this set of circumstances? And how can I improve upon what happened? Celebrate the good stuff. Even if the good stuff is a little bit of that experience, celebrate the good, because you will find more good the more good you celebrate. It's like that ray of sunshine. Be the ray of sunshine in somebody's life. A candle lights up a room, right? That's what you're looking for, is more of that light, more of that positivity. So the more you do that, and the more experienced you get at seeing things the way that you want to see them and following through to get those results, you become a master at awareness. And that is when you take in the outside condition and you think about it for a minute and you decide. You think and you plan and you respond. You don't throw a fit. You think and you plan and you respond. I will tell you that has come in very, very handy over the last year and a half with a lot of those outside circumstances that we have been dealing with. We had a lot of family stuff thrown at me that if I did not have the skill set that I do, some of that stuff would have knocked me down for a long time. But because I have the skills and because I have this mastermind group, it's like I can go into our group and I can talk this out with them, and they always help me to see that, you know what, even though this looks like a really dire situation, it's really sad, it's this, but we have all these other things that we can focus on. So it's not that I don't get sad, it's just that I don't stay in those ruts where I used to be, because I have my girls to pull me through. So what is this stick person that you hear us talk about? Sherry, can you share that image, please? I feel kind of like Dave Letterman. Do we have the clip? There we go. There is our stick figure. And that actually, one little anecdote is this stick figure right here. This stick figure is actually how the 5 of us got together, is because Lene had shirts made with the Think, Believe, Do. And so this is kind of this stick figure is kind of our mascot. So we have the conscious mind, which you can see there is, that is our thinking mind. And the subconscious mind is the part of the mind that cannot differentiate between real and what is imagined. So that is where our self-image comes from, is that subconscious mind. And whatever you tell that subconscious mind, it has to believe you. It doesn't have a choice to accept or reject. And then the body is just the part that acts. You have a power within you that is far superior to any condition or circumstance around you. You can use your thoughts to direct power to whatever result you choose. And it looks like a simple graphic, but when you truly understand it, you have the power to change the direction of your life. It is a very, very powerful tool. And I'm not sure who I'm passing it on to now.
Me.
All right, Shelby.
All right. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. Yes, we all should have worn our shirts tonight. This is our mascot. This is the center of everything. Thoughts create things. And so my name is Shelby Corwin. I'm from Oklahoma. I've been doing this personal development, or been a part of basics, for about, I want to say almost 2 years. Time flies when you're learning, right? And so I'm going to be talking about the conscious mind. Okay, so if you have paper, you can draw this along, get your paper or pencil. If not, you can just look how easy this is, right? I mean, if you guys know me by now, we've done 13 classes. If you know me, what do I always say? Easy button. I'm all about easy, okay? I'm all about easy. Super simple. Okay, get your paper, draw a circle. There's your head, okay? Mine's a little lopsided on here, but you know, whatever. And then you're gonna draw a line in the center. And then you got your body. Okay, don't judge me. Art was not my forte. There you got your body, your head. In the center, you have your conscious mind. Okay, so you can put CON, conscious mind. The bottom part, I don't know if you guys can even see that. I'm so sorry. You couldn't see my awesome art. Sorry. Um, we're going to draw. Okay, so your head, you got your line, conscious mind, and then your subconscious mind goes here. So you can put subconscious mind. And then down here on the body, you can just put body, or you can put action, or you can put results. Action, body, or results down here, whatever you would like. I'm just gonna put body or results. Oh, I'm gonna put all three. Okay, there we go. Action, results, body. And then what I like to add are these little hair, it looks like hair, but you at the top. And I'm gonna explain what this is. So you have these little hairs up here. Okay, and these are like little antennas. Okay, so these are the outside factors that are going to determine what your thoughts are. Okay, so these, when you're looking at it, you see these out here, these are the first. So the first thing, okay, like Tammy said, when you're a baby, your mind is blank. What's the first thing that goes in there? Well, whatever your parents put in there, right? I mean, whatever your environment is. Okay, so these are the outside factors. Okay, so the conscious mind is where we can accept or reject things. Okay, this is where it all starts. Thoughts are things. What are you thinking about? It is controlled, or it starts. It's not controlled, right? We can choose what we think and how we act, but it does come from the outside factors. Okay, everything is neutral and you have a choice. Okay, so remember that everything is neutral and you have a choice. So the outside factor comes in. Okay, so we're all part of Young Living, or we all love Young Living, and we know that with the website changes, maybe our OGV dropped. Well, my OGV dropped because of the website change. Did it? Is that why? Is that why it changed? Are you sure? Or is that what someone is telling you? That's what you're hearing. Everybody around you is saying that, right? So then you're taking it in through those little bitty hair-like things, these little bitty whatever hair things. I don't know what the correct term is, but bear with me. Okay, so you take in these things from your five senses, the outside factors, and it goes in your conscious mind, and that is where you can accept or reject everything. Okay, that is antennas. Thank you, Susie. Antennas. So another example would be one of my personal ones is like, I can't lose weight. Well, why? So you take your goal. Okay, this is the easiest way. You take your goal. I can't lose weight. Well, why? So what is your excuse? Why can you not lose weight? Well, my excuses would be like, I have, small children. I don't have the time, X, Y, Z. Those are what's coming in to your conscious mind. And then you have the choice to A, accept or reject it, and B, put any emotion to it. And emotion is what Sherry's going to talk about next. Oh, yes, Sherry, that's you.
Oh, that's my cue. That's my cue. Okay. I'm here. Okay. Hi, guys. So I'm Sherry Hester from Savannah, Georgia here. And I don't want to disrupt the flow by doing a little bio. So I'm just going to flow with that because that was like perfect intro, right? And then it goes to the emotions. Yes. So I get to talk about the subconscious mind, that second part of our head that Shelby just drew so beautifully for us. So I'm gonna probably reiterate some things that Tammy and Shelby have said, but that's okay because we all know repetition creates awareness. So this is really worth repeating. So again, as it has been said, what's so key here is the conscious mind that Shelby just talked to us about, right? Can accept or reject. We have a choice. We have a choice in that moment. But guess what, guys? Whatever you choose goes then into your subconscious. Choice is gone. Choice is gone. The subconscious mind is there like a cup saying, give me whatever you want. I'm here for it all, right? It accepts absolutely everything with no questions asked. It does not know the difference between reality and fiction. It does not know lies. It does not know anything. It accepts everything equally as if everything is truth. So, how careful do we need to be with those thoughts, right? So key, so important. So okay, here, let me just give you an example. So you say, nobody's going to come to my class or party. I'm going to have a class, right? I hope everyone comes. I hope it's going to be 25 people. I hope it's going to be 100 people, right? That's my hope. That's what my result is. And then what you feel though is no one's going to come. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. Oh, it's on a Saturday. All my friends are moms and the kids have games on that. Oh, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen? Those are your emotions that you have just, the thoughts that have come in, and now you're going to emotionalize and go, oh crap. Why do I even do this? Why do I even do this stuff? If I'm going to hold classes, no one's going to come. Then the class comes and guess what happens? Nobody comes, or at least you don't get the result that you want. And then you wonder, well, what? I did all the stuff. I sent out the invitations. I planned a great class. I did all the research. But what went in between is what can mess us up. The feeling, the subconscious, the emotions control all the vibrations of the body, which we're going to lead into what Susie's going to talk about next, which is going to lead us into our action. So whatever you think, you immediately are going to start emotionalizing with. How are you going to emotionalize with that? What are you going to choose to think about that thought? So our tendency is to naturally gravitate towards the negative. Right? We're surrounded by, it's so much easier to worry or think the worst. I mean, it's part of our vocabulary. What's the worst that could happen? Right? Why don't we say what's the best that could happen? But we're always thinking worst case scenario. So I'm going to give you a little scenario that could have been mine, but it was not mine. I'm just going to say it right now, but this is something I realized this is true to me. Okay. So, like, Shelby talked about the little antennas, right? So my daughter and her husband have just gone on their very delayed honeymoon to Europe. So they're in Europe, right? They're young, fancy free. They're in Europe. Okay. So let's say I know my daughter's going to Europe next week. And all of a sudden I see a story on the news. And it's about a young woman getting kidnapped while she was in France. And I'm like going, oh crap, that's where Chelsea's going to go. Oh no. Oh my gosh. I better tell her to be really safe and like, I'll give her extra phone minutes and we'll like, blah, and then start going down the thing. Like, what if something happens? What if she gets hurt? Oh no, it could get, and then you just spiral, right? Like, oh yeah, it's so risky over there and they don't know the language. Oh my gosh, they can't even communicate. What if they both get COVID over there? Oh my gosh, right? I'm like, right? That could happen. But no, instead, guess what? Oh, there's a story in the news. Turn the news off. My daughter is going to Europe next week. Oh my gosh, this is a delayed honeymoon. I cannot wait to hear about the experiences when she comes home. She is surrounded by, she's going to meet all these new people. It's going to be a lot of support. She's got her little dictionary. She can translate anything. They're together. They're strong. They're healthy. They're fit. They're going to be great. It changes the whole thing. And what we're going to learn between, Susie's going to share with us and Lene is it changes the whole end result. Our attitudes and that subconscious mind change everything. So every thought or word your conscious mind chooses to accept, whether it's true or not, again, I repeat, the subconscious mind must accept it. It has no ability to reject it. And it has no limits. It has no limits. Like think about the most outrageous things. That it doesn't care if it doesn't make sense. It doesn't care if you're saying there's a creepy monster under your bed. Your subconscious mind is going to say, oh, there's a creepy monster under my bed. It's got to be real. And like freak out, right? Okay. So, and anything you get in there actually gets fixed in there. So what we need to do, fixed ideas, or we can also call them habits, they automatically express themselves in feelings and actions until they are replaced. So what are some things we can do to replace them? Well, we can change the thought. We can change the emotion attached by affirmations, right? Replacing the emotion, replacing the thought. Because we all go there, right? We all go there. We have thoughts and then but we can say cancel, delete, right? Stop. Nope, not going there. Instead, go here. So, and we can also use our other senses. What makes you feel good and resonate with the positive, right? It could be music. It could be a sense of smell, like, your mom's baked bread, like brings you joy. It could, hey, I know something. How about these little bottles of amazing oils and things that can change our emotions, can change our brain, right? Just pop it right in. Get the white Angelica going, right? Um, what is so interesting, as we all know, there's no accidents. And I was preparing for this class, and I'm also doing a book study with some other friends of mine on the power of positive thinking. If you guys don't know that book, it is wonderful. And I have a huge history with the Norman Vincent Peale. But anyway, so I'm reading this morning, and look at what it says. I'm going to share this with you. It says, the famous psychiatrist, Dr. Carl Menninger, said, attitudes are more important than fact. Any fact facing us, however difficult, even seemingly hopeless, is not so important as our attitude toward that fact. How you think about a fact may defeat you before you ever do anything about it. You may permit a fact to overwhelm you mentally before you start to deal with it, actually. So again, that number one, and you're going to hear there's four parts here, and I'm about to just turn it over here to Susie. Or no, who am I turning it over to? Yeah, Susie. But there's four parts, and what I want you to think of as you're hearing these parts is it's so important to do these in order. Guys, these are laws. These are not man-made laws. These are not man-made laws. Man cannot change them. We must follow the laws. The order is perfect. So 1, thought. 2, feelings. And 3, Susie, go!
Hi. So 3 is action. I'm not going to keep you in suspense. My name is Susie Andrade. It's official. I got my social security card in the mail. It's done. Wedding hair is gone. Extensions are out. So here's what I got to say about this. So here's how we're going to do this. In order for me to closely make this an example of both a good way and a not so good way, I want to share with you a couple of examples. First, I've been in personal development since 2017, quite by accident, when my now sister-in-law was telling me that she got me a ticket to go see Gabby Bernstein and go to her book signing. Had no idea. That was my first introduction, and I was like, okay, maybe this personal development thing is like important. So I started doing personal development from that point in 2017. And you guys, I was a mess, a hot mess. Like I was worse than I thought I was good. I thought it was good. And as soon as I started peeling back the layers, I'm like, oh. But what I did was I embraced it and I'm working on it. So this is a work in progress. This is an everyday, and dare I say, every occasion that you have in your life, every issue that comes up, you're going to have to play out the stick man. Whether you think you are or not, you are. So this is how this is going to work. I'm going to tell you an example and how we play this out. So we know that all these things, right? You have TV, you have radio, you have newspapers, you have all of these things coming at you. Your conscious mind is your thinking mind. It's your thought process. It's like, okay, so I just heard this news story about, say, Sherry's example about this girl getting kidnapped in France. You now are going to hold that out in front of you, and you're going to look at it. Like, obviously, we do this in a fraction of a second, but you're going to hold that out in front of you, and you are going to make the choice as whether or not you believe that. If you don't believe it, get rid of it. Spin it the way you want to see it. No. This has happened to me so many times. I'm not going to go down that way, but I was thinking sometimes you can do this at the most unrealistic times. So I've gotten so aware of how I respond to things that when Chris told me that our hot water heater was leaking, I said, no, it's not. I don't accept that. It is not. And he goes, Susie, there's actually water in our garage right now. And I was like, okay. Well, let me handle it then. I did not give it a good or a bad. I just went into action mode, right? Let's find the plumber, get him called, get him out here, right? So I'm going to show you one example of how this might not work favorably. So in the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch did a study where he took a subject and he added like 3 or 4 group members to that subject, and he put them in a room and he showed them each 2 cards. One card had 1 line on it. The other card had 3 lines on it of varying degree. Like some were shorter, some were longer. It looked like this. And each subject was to point out the line that closely resembled the line on the card. Okay. Now, when the subjects all agreed, everything was copacetic. But what the researcher was understanding was the minute he took the group participants and pinned them with the incorrect answer, it challenged the subject. So the subject, 75% of the time, would pick incorrectly with the group because the group picked what they picked. So the subject was knowingly, 75% of the time, picking incorrectly, knowingly. Now that speaks volumes, right? So given the information, which was the lines, he could have held that out in front of him and said, no, I reject that, I reject that, I reject that, I reject that of the 4 other participants, but he didn't. He made the conscious decision to throw into action, no, it's what they said. Right? He picked incorrectly. That was the action that he chose. Okay. That's really important when you start thinking about who you're surrounding yourself with, because it's your circle. It's the news that you're watching. It's the programs that you are subjecting yourself to, the books, the information, the podcasts, the whatever that bleed either positively or negatively into what you believe, because what you believe is truth, right? Whatever you believe, until you learn something else, it's your truth. So the point here is that you have all these things coming at you. You decide when something comes in, you decide whether you're going to put it on the side of fear or you're going to put it on the side of faith. Once you make that decision, it goes into your subconscious, and your subconscious sends your body into action. Your body is just a vessel, right? It houses, your mind is the one that's striving. Do you remember that cartoon movie? What is it? Where it's got all these little cartoons that are different emotions, like happy and sad or whatever. And the one, I just remember them all sitting in the kid's head or whatever, and they were driving the kid, right? So when the kid was happy, the happy guy was driving. When the kid was happy, he had response. When he was sad, he had this response. That's how you have to think of your conscious and your subconscious. Your body is just going to move however your subconscious tells it to move. And your subconscious deals with your emotion, like what Sherry said. If you're scared, you're going to make a decision. You're going to take the action of fear, like picking the wrong line, right? Now I'm going to give you a different alternative. So 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, I don't know. I don't even think about it. Chris got COVID, okay? The result came back from a drugstore test, positive. His PCR test came back negative. The emergency room said, no, you got it, okay? Susie has 2 artificial joints, if you don't know. If I ever get a virus or a bacteria, woo, bad things can happen. So you know what I did? I don't give it any space. I don't even think about it. It doesn't even cross my mind, okay? So when Chris got COVID, my little subconscious remembered everything that I've ever heard about COVID. Like, oh my gosh, quarantine and stay away from him and blah, 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 blah. And then Susie held the ball of facts in front of her. And I made the decision not to believe that. He has it. I don't have it. I was negative. I am not getting it. You know, I'm not getting it because I never gave it any room. I never gave it any energy. So what did I did? I did what any wife would do. I took care of her husband. I took care of him. I made sure he had food and hydration. I slept next to him. I gave him a million kisses and gave him love. I surrounded him with love. And I never got COVID. So when my sister-in-law asked me this past weekend, she said, Susie, aren't you afraid of getting COVID? I said, no. Why would I be? I don't give it any space. I don't think about it. It's not something that crosses my mind ever because I don't want it. It's not the result that I want. And that makes me go into action by sanitizing my hands, wearing my mask when I feel like I'm around too many people. Like, it sends you into action in a different way. Now, if I was paranoid about whether or not I'm going to get this, I would not be going to work. I would never leave my house. There are things I wouldn't do. I know people that are doing this. Like, there are people that act on the side of fear, which I'm not saying like you act the way you want to, but what I'm saying is when you take initiative and you really look at the problem, hold it out in front of you and decide how you're going to handle it. Are you going to put it on the side of faith or are you going to put it on the side of fear? Now, when you do this at the beginning, you're just going to become aware. But moving forward, you get to make these decisions all the time. Every time, every minute of your day, you're making these decisions. And what I'm going to do is turn it over to Lene, and she's going to talk about the results of all of this pathway.
Hello. Yes, my name is Lene, and I'm just going to repeat because that's what we do. Thoughts, feelings. Your thoughts create your feelings, which create the action, which you then end up with a result. Okay. So in order to change your result, if you don't like what's happening, then you have to work backwards. And I'm going to go into detail more on that. But to change your results, you must choose different thoughts. It always starts back at the beginning. Okay. So choose those different thoughts because that's what changes your feelings, and you act based on your feelings, not based on your thought. You act based on what you truly emotionalize with at your core. I really, because your mind might say one thing, but it's what you really resonate with that is what moves you into action. Okay. So that energy, those outside factors are coming in constantly. I mean, we're bombarded all the time based on what we pay attention to, right? So it's constantly coming into our conscious, and we get to choose, like Susie said, we get to choose. We get to choose what we do with that information, with that energy. And we can put our attention on things that are outside of us, the things that we see, smell, hear, taste, touch, or we can use our intellectual faculties. Like, we have an amazing mind that allows us to do so many things that other beings on this earth are not able to do. So we have an amazing mind. And so what we can use those intellectual faculties to deliberately choose the thoughts that are aligned with the results that we desire. And this is where it goes back to what Tammy was talking about at the beginning of, we must have that self-image so ingrained into our mind, into our deep subconscious, because when you focus on that image, when you emotionalize with that image, that's what drives the action that gets you the results that you desire. Case in point, I desired an improved enhanced, what's the word, right, ladies? Body. I desired better health for myself. I have deep family history, both sides. Okay, enhanced, yes. My paternal side and my maternal side both have cardiac disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, congestive heart failure is on both sides. Type 2 diabetes is even on, well, one side for sure. Mitral valve issues are on the other side. And I'm looking at myself and I'm like, some people are like, oh, it's in your genes. It's just the way it is. I don't accept that. See, that's where I got this information. I didn't accept that. I instead pictured my mind of this is the body I desire to have. God, like this is a temple for the Holy Spirit. Okay? That's what I believe. And so I desired to make this the best place possible. And so I pictured in my mind this body that I desired, and I did the things. So then I started putting in thoughts into my head. Okay, this is what I desire. And then I'm like, oh my word, how good am I going to feel? It's going to be amazing. And the inspiration I can give to other people. Oh, wow. And I'm like, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to, break the cycle that's in my family. And it's going to be incredible. And I'm going to inspire other people. And so that just got me going. That's what put me into action. I started eating food as fuel, like good, clean food as fuel, and not as just something fun to do. Because is it fuel or is it fun? Well, yes, I enjoy eating. Who doesn't? But you have to decide, what is food going to do for you? It can fuel your body in an amazing way, or it can cause your body to break down. Much like if you put diesel into a Honda Pilot, what's it going to do? It might run for a little bit and then it's going to break down, just like our bodies. We need to put proper fuel into our bodies. So, and then I started doing the exercising, and look what happened. This is the result that I got. Okay, I have muscles now. Yay! That's incredible, right? So, and it's not, I've struggled or been challenged by my weight my entire life. There are things that I learned about my health that other people may have just been like, well, that's just the way I am. That's part of my health. Okay, I can't lose weight. I chose differently. And I got the result that I desired. And it can happen for you too. So what we impress those thoughts and ideas upon our subconscious mind. It can only accept that, like what the other gals have said, our subconscious mind can only accept what it's given. So be very careful with your thoughts, because that kind of starts the whole process. And we become one with what we want to be, do, and have. So no matter what goal you have in mind, whether it's a physical goal, some type of health goal, a business goal, a family goal, a relational goal of some sort with your friends, whatever it is, get that image so clear in your mind. And that's what's going to start the process. Okay. So, Sherry, can you put that stick person back up? And then I'm going to talk about, so we've just been given all this information. So I want to kind of walk us through an exercise. And if you have a piece of paper and a pen, I highly encourage you to grab it, because when you actually do this and you're writing it out, it sticks in your head. And if you want to kick it up a notch, draw it with your non-dominant hand. Right, ladies? Have you ever tried that with the stick person? That just came to me. So If you are new to this, do it with your dominant hand. But if you want to kick it up a notch, let's do it with our non-dominant hand. Because what happens when you're using your non-dominant hand, you have to really think and really focus on what you're doing. It's going to stick in your brain more than it would otherwise. Okay? So, how can we use this stick person to improve our lives? No matter what goal you have, like I said, for me, it was that health goal. Now I'm moving it into my business goal with my health business. Okay. So using the stick person allows you to step outside of yourself and look at what you've been using your mind for. So kind of like Susie talked about, holding it. This is a way for you to hold it out, the situation out in front of you. Okay. So your results, you look at yourself objectively to see what you're thinking and which ideas you're getting emotionally involved with in your subconscious mind. And since the body is an instrument of the mind, it moves into action based on those emotionalized ideas. So those actions and behaviors, of course, determine the results you are getting. So when we look at this graphic, we're going to work backwards. So the first one is, and if you want to write this down, thought is number 1, feeling number 2, action is number 3, and result is number 4. And we can use what Sherry mentioned earlier. I think it was, whichever lady in this awesome group shared earlier about my OGV. This is the result. My OGV is low. And, it's because the website changed. Wait a second. We missed a few steps in there. So when you're working backward to find out where you need to change, what you need to change in this process, let's work that backward. Okay, the result is your OGV is low. Okay, so what was the action that you took to get that result? Have you been reaching out to your members? Have you been reaching out to those customers? Have you been reaching out to potential customers? Have you been talking with your business builders? Have you been inviting and getting to know people to bring them to your classes? No. Why is that? What was the feeling that drove that action? Well, I just felt like nobody was going to come. Nobody was going to come to the class because they're busy and they're just not interested. And so, yeah, I just didn't feel like it was going to happen. I did all the things, but they're not going to come. They have other things to do. So that's the emotion that you put with it that drove that action. You didn't do anything then. You got the result. So what made you think that nobody was going to come? What were the outside factors that led to those thoughts? Well, in times past, I've had people say, oh, I don't know, that's just not for me, or I got other things to do, or I'll come, and then they don't come. So, or there's somebody else is doing something, or there's a party going on, so they're just not, and we start getting those thoughts, and then we emotionalize with that. So how can we change that then? Well, let's work back. What's our desired result? Our desired result is increased OGV. So what is the action step that I need to take to get that result? I need to make those phone calls, pick up the phone, talk to my members, talk to my customers. Sorry, I need to change my language. Talk to my customers, reach out to new prospects, get in those groups, get to know the people in your life, have those relationships so that you can start reaching out to them and building that rapport that will then build that trust, and they will end up coming to your events. What are the feeling behind it? I'm so happy and grateful now that I have this I reached my goal and I've hit gold and I'm on my way to platinum and I'm moving up, and it's incredible the lives I've changed, the people that have a more vibrant health, and you can just keep going and going depending on what your goal is. But my goal is to help as many people as possible. I feel good. I choose for other people to feel as good as I do. So that's what I'm emotionalizing with. And what are the thoughts that put that? I the those thoughts that, you know what, other people do need to feel this good. I know that there are people out there. Not everybody is a customer yet with Young Living, and not everybody knows as much as they need to know yet about the products that are even on my team. So, and what are the outside factors? Well, you hear how many people saying, oh, I have no energy, or I just don't have, this is happening, or I don't, whatever that outside information that's coming in, and you're like, you know what? I can do something about that. I have tools that will help these people. And then you're like, oh my word, I can help them feel better. This is going to be amazing. And then that drives your body into action. And then lo and behold, look what happens. You have increased OGV because you're helping so many people. Isn't that cool? Yay! So no matter what your situation is, you can use this. Let's say it's for relationships. I mean, I could go on, and honestly, okay, I still have a little bit of time. I mean, it can work for a relationship that you have that's maybe you need to improve upon, whether it's your marriage, whether it's a friendship. What's the desired result? You desire to have a close relationship with this person. Well, what happened? There's something not right, right? So what was the action step that caused that relationship to not be as fruitful? Well, you didn't reach out. You had repeated times where you said you were going to call them and you didn't. And what was the feeling that you had? Well, I'm just feeling tired. I feel worn out. I don't have enough energy, and they're too busy anyway, and they're not going to mind. And then what was the thought process? Or the thoughts that you were thinking? Well, they don't need me. They are doing okay. And the outside factors, it all works together. So what's the thought? They do need me. They do. And you're like, then you emotionalize with that. You know what? I do improve their life. They are a better person with me in it. I have something of value. Oh my goodness, I want to enrich their life. And then that puts you into action, and you make the phone call. You set up the lunch date. And what's the result? Your relationship is improving. Life is getting better with that person. And you do those things, and repeatedly, you're going to have a better, solid relationship. So it can work in any area of your life. So by understanding how your mind works, how that conscious mind can accept or reject something, your subconscious can only accept. So what you truly emotionalize with is what's going to drive you into action, and that's what's going to lead to the result you have, whether it's your desired result or not. So by transforming your life, by building and holding on to that image that you choose, that will cause you to be a different person. Nothing is wrong. Everything is neutral. You have a choice. So there you go. What questions, comments, is there a situation even that somebody has that we can work this all through together? We can talk it out together. What's an action or a result that has happened, and how can we help you improve it? who all drew the stick person? when I was
I
talking
drew it with
at
my
you.
left hand.
You did.
I did.
Good for you, Sherry.
Yeah. It's not very pretty.
When you actually write things out, and you can do this. So our mentor, Melissa Pepping, draws a stick person every day, probably multiple times a day, based off the situations that she's dealing with. Because when you put it on paper like that and you really draw it out, and you're like, what are those incidental factors that are coming in that are causing the thoughts that I'm having? When you write it out, you can actually change it for somebody. So let's say you have somebody that maybe is a challenge to deal with. You can stick man this person, stick person this person, and start to see things differently. See other thoughts being put into their head, or other factors being put into their head that gives them the better thoughts that that they can emotionalize with, that drives a different action, that gets the result that you feel is better for them. I've done that with leaders on my team. I've done that with friends, with my husband. And it's amazing, because what that does when I'm doing that activity, it improves my thought process towards that person and towards that situation. It makes it more positive instead of being, oh my word, I'm so frustrated. This actually helps put you into a positive mindset that will change the result to what you desire more.
Yeah, and just to build off of that, I was going to say I'm doing this actively with my son, because parenting is a little different when your kids are older and when they're making decisions that you wish were a little different. You can stick man them and start with, I am so happy and grateful now that this is what's going on, that they are experiencing abundance in all areas of their life, that is where, when you start, instead of focusing on the negative, you can start looking at the positive things that are happening, and then start just feeding that positivity, because people are going to rise to your level of expectation. So make sure that your expectations are sky high of somebody else. This works really well for us, especially because, us as individuals, because we judge ourselves more probably than anybody on the planet, and you do it constantly. And as much as I try, as much as I do succeed in not always doing that and catching myself when I do that, it happens. And we are taught not to judge anything, especially ourselves. Give ourselves light. Like, you want to constantly be giving yourself light.
Tammy, did you want to share what we were talking about earlier, or has
I can share my self-image statement if that's what you are talking about.
that is.
I have it all ready to go. So when you create, we're actually our next episode of Mindset Matters, we're really going to dig deep into this and show you guys how to craft one. But basically, your self-image statement is like a future memory. And if it doesn't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. It is a future memory, and you act as though you are already in possession of your heart's desire, whatever that may be. So I've actually taken this a little bit further. I put a lot of specifics into it, and I rework this probably every 3 or 4 months, because as you meet goals, new goals are realized, new desires are realized. So my current self-image statement is, and I have an addendum on the end, but I'm going to read it anyway. So mine starts, I am so happy and grateful now that I am a young living Royal Crown Diamond. For those of you who don't know, that's like the upper echelon. It's the cream of the crop. It is as good as it gets for right now, but we're going to create a new rank. I'm living my best life every day, surrounded by the most compassionate, caring people in the universe. I attract kick-ass business builders who can't wait to join my team and build legacy income. Together, we empower those around us by teaching them how to live a young living lifestyle of wellness, purpose, and abundance. My family is able to give generously and to live a life with passion, integrity, and enthusiasm. We sponsor a child at the Young Living Academy, which we do, and we contribute regularly to the D. Gary Young Living Foundation. We set up an endowment with the Solon Springs Educational Foundation, which is my local high school. And the proceeds from that endowment fund special trips, field trips abroad, and annual scholarships to deserving students. I attend all of my son's field trips and volunteer in the classroom as often as I can. We collaborate with friends to establish a foundation that helps veterans and first responders who are dealing with PTSD. One of our primary goals is to connect people with the resources they need. My husband and I have built a beautiful home that is always neat, organized, and ready to accept visitors. I host monthly classes and team meetings. Our house is the place for my son and all of his friends to hang out. We also have a vacation home near my parents in Florida and enjoy spending time with them and creating unforgettable memories. I am grateful that I have a strong, healthy body and a confident, brilliant mind. I am my ideal body weight of 165 pounds, and when I look into the mirror, I love the person who I see looking back at me. I achieved the rank of gold in November 2021, and I earned Gold Retreat and attended in August 2022 in Spokane, Washington. I intend to add an additional $50,000 to my annual income by May of 2022. This money comes to me in various forms over time. In return, I will give stellar customer service while teaching others how to maximize their potential with Young Living. Failure is not an option.
That's incredible, Tammy.
So I will tell you, when the first time I did that, I had a hard time getting out 2 or 3 sentences. And the more you do it, it's just like somebody took their finger out of the dam, and the more you start writing and the more you start thinking about this, the words just come. I'm up to a full page right now. And like I said, when I first started, I had a hard time coming up with 2 or 3 sentences. So my advice is to start writing. And if you really want that to sink in, like Lene said, write that out once or twice a day with your non-dominant hand, because it makes you really focus on what you're writing. And it actually engages both hemispheres of the brain, which is a great exercise in focus. And it helps to unlock the creative centers in your mind by crossing hemispheres.
Awesome. That was wonderful, Tammy. I love that. Yeah, maybe we can share some more next week or next month, I guess, next month. So does anyone else, we have gone a little over, so I think in honor of your time, we will close. Is there any last comments or any questions that anyone has before we say goodnight?
What's our
All
class
right.
next week?
Yes. Next week is Ninja Red class. Oh my goodness. The one drink that everybody should be drinking. Oh, it's fabulous. So yes, please come next week to learn all about this drink. And if you already know about it, come share your stories with us. So we look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same Zoom link. And have a great one. Thanks for coming, everybody.